Hey, what's up everyone, it's your girl Brain Shanae, and today this is going to be my fourth prompt regarding this amazing book, Kingdom of Souls by Rena Barron. And my fourth prompt is going to be about why I'm a huge fan of this amazing book and what hooked me into this book, why I loved it so much, why I connected to it so much. It's just, this book really was amazing. It's something that I haven't read before when it comes to books, especially about culture, African culture, Black culture, what have you. This is one of these books. These are one of the phenomenal books where it brings out and it gives you a more insight of African culture, which is amazing, and then the tribes and the people, the different cultures, the different traditions, the different customs and everything that each tribe has, and the things that they resemble. I find that very, very interesting when it comes to this book. So I am a Kingdom of Souls stan or the biggest stan, whatever, what have you, because I have a connection with this book. I can relate to this book. It talks about the hair, the braids, the coils, the dreads, everything that resembles African culture and Black culture in one. I had a great connection with each of the characters. I had a great connection of Ara, the main character. It's Ara. And I just loved the character building. I also love the world that was pretty much captured in this book of fantasy. Even the cover is amazing, and I think that's what captured me the most and what hooked me to the book, because you can see this is based, just looking at it, this is more African culture and Black culture. And I was just enthralled with it. I was really, really anxious and excited to read it. And once it came out, I read it in like a week because it was that amazing. And I couldn't put the book down because I constantly wanted to know more and more what's going to happen, because this book is something that you can't put down. You always want to know what happens next. It's not that book where it's like, okay, I'll stop right here and I'll begin reading it again later on. No, it's like it's like a page turner. You keep reading it, and you love it so much that you want to know what happens. And I feel like I could have a connection with each of these characters. And I'm not from Africa, but I know my ancestors are from Africa. And just reading this, it makes me feel I have a connection. Like I don't know my ancestors from Africa, but I know I do. And I know this is a fantasy book, but it made me feel like I'm close, either though I don't know them, I feel their presence around me. I feel like my ancestors are with me regardless of where I am, if I'm in America or if I visited in Africa. I feel like I have a connection. Like, I want to explore more about my heritage and where I come from, where my family comes from, and everything like that. And so for this book, it made me feel closer. It made me feel like I'm just there, like I feel their presence with me. And so that's why I'm a huge fan of this, and that's what hooked me into the book so much, is because this book is amazing. Like just reading the synopsis of this book, it says, born to a family of powerful witch doctors, Ara yearns for magic of her own, but she fails to read the bones, fails to see the future, and fails to call upon the ancestors. With just that sentence alone, it feels like, man, I wish I could know my ancestors, where they came from, what tribe they were connected to, everything like that. And then it says, with each passing year, her ambitious mother looks upon her with ever-growing disapproval. And I feel like that's in every case when it comes to a daughter. You want your mom to be proud of you all the time, and that's just something that isn't there. And that happens, I felt that way, because I felt like I wasn't good enough. But then I realized that all that I am is the best of me, the best that I can give myself, the best of me that I can show to my mother. And then it says, there's only one thing Ara hasn't tried. Charlatans in the market trade years of their own lives for a taste of magic without knowing how many each ritual will take. There's a sacrifice Ara would never risk until the kingdom's children begins to vanish. When Ara trades her years for the magic to catch the child snatcher, what she uncovers is even more horrifying. The demon king, who the ancient gods imprisoned centuries ago, is stirring. If he awakens, his hunger for souls will bring Ara's world to its knees, unless she pays the price for the magic to save it. And I feel like, yes, we don't have magic, but with this book, I feel like during that time of slavery and people in Africa, there's been so many sacrifices to live, to gain knowledge of understanding everything like that. And so for this book, it made me feel closer. It makes me want to research more about my culture and where I come from, and if my family was even in a tribe, which I believe they were. It's just, it's a connection of the motherland that I love the most about this book. I always wanted to go to Africa. Like I said, I know this is fantasy, but it makes me realize that I'm missing something, a part of me, a history that I'm disconnected from because of what happened years ago. And it makes me want to learn more about my heritage and my family. So that's why I'm a huge Kingdom of Soul stan, and why it hooked me, what hooked me about the book the most. And that was pretty much it. Just trying to know my roots on where I come from, and just reading this and reading about the cultures, the tribes, the family dynamic, especially with Ara and her father, the chemistry they had together, the closeness of their families and their friends. It's just amazing. And I'm in love with this book so much. But that is my fourth prompt. I know it was a little long, but I really wanted to acknowledge that this book is amazing, and it made me feel really connected to a lot of things about Africa, and just wants me to research and want me to know more about my ancestors. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Also hit the subscribe button and that bell to be notified when I upload more videos in the future. But thank you so much for watching, you guys. See ya.